Let's look at definition of done. I used to have a friend who I used to work with in a software development environment. Whenever I used to ask him, are you done with this user story or piece of work? He said, I am almost done. I am this close to being done. And whenever you are this close to being done, that doesn't mean you're done. Let's look at what we mean by definition of done. This is an agreement document that team creates so that it's accessible by everybody and it is a common understanding that everybody has at that point of time, and it's an ever-evolving document. What we mean by that is when team starts with a checklist of items, when these items in the checklist are done, we know this story is done. Let's look at a unit of work. Take a user story. How do we know when we are done with the user story? One of the things that I've used in my team is start with a very simple document. For one of the teams that I used to coach, it was as simple as this. That user story meets the acceptance criteria by the product owner. So whatever product owner said, those conditions of acceptance, that piece of work actually includes those. The other thing is it's properly tested. The other checklist in the definition of done document is there is code review or peer review in that story or that piece of code. And once we have all that, we need two more things. We need a lightweight documentation on what was being done in that user story. And then the last thing is the story must be given to a product owner for review. And if we finish all those things, we would consider this story or piece of work is done. Let's say, for example, if there's a new team member who joins the team, it is so easy for that team member to look at the working agreement, and part of that is definition of done, and they can look at it and they can know exactly where the team's mindset and agreements are in place, so they know what to do. Following the working agreement, they would complete the user story, they would make sure the user story has all the acceptance criteria in place. They would test the story, or they would actually give it to another team member. There would be code review. There would be a lightweight update on Confluence or Jira on how the story was implemented. And the last thing is they would pass that story to the product owner and explain to product owner, here, this story is done. And when a new team member agrees to this definition of done, then everybody is in the same page, and it can really help team gain productivity versus getting into the argument is, oh, this is not actually done, or this is almost done and I just need to implement this, or I just need to test it in this browser. Those things can actually take a lot of time, and there's a lot of handoffs that can happen within the user story whenever you don't have an explicit definition of done. One of the things that we want to make sure is we want to make this document visible, and you want to put it in a place where everybody can access it. For example, I had this document in a team room in a poster, and some of the developers actually printed this definition of done and actually posted in their cubicle so that it almost reminds them what a definition of done means.